Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode with Riptide from Aquatik Esports. This one is a little wacky. It's a little all over the place. Hopefully you still enjoy it. Hopefully you find something interesting. I'm going to keep this really short because it's really hot and I'm literally sweating in my office right now while I'm editing this. So hopefully you enjoy this. Come back next week. We have some more cool stuff. And let's just jump into the episode. Not going to waste any time on this one. Because, that's how we do it here, because welcome to the Common Tongue Podcasts, where we're going to attempt another mediocre podcast episode with the one and the only introduce yourself.
I'm back. Actually, I don't know if this episode's going up before or after the other one, but I am Riptide on the interwebs. I'm your top F-lister star for the internet. That is not my cell phone, but I will check my phone because it's inherently muscle memory to hear a phone when you check your phone. But my friends and family call me Tad.
Hello, Tad. My lord,
Yeah.
I'm not. That's not gonna go in. I don't know where
That's
that came
rude.
from. That's so rude.
It was funny though.
So, what are we talking about today? What are you gonna wow me with? What are
I'm
we
not gonna wow
argue
you
about?
anything. I end up boring people with this because they just stare at me usually when I get on this. So the conversation, you'd pitch something slightly different, and I said, well, why don't we just talk about consumer electronics?
Tell them what my pitch was, because I felt like it was a good pitch.
So your pitch was just music equipment. Yeah. And I do think that's a really good. I'm sorry if there's like noise. I'm fiddling with my microphone here. I like to fiddle with things. But to me, my scope of knowledge of things isn't just music equipment. It's actually electronics.
Yeah.
And there's even like a slight kick to this, which you don't know. At least I'm assuming you don't know yet. So my senior year of high school, I was due enrolled and I went to a trade, like IT school for a year.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I had studied electronics. So, and I got my certification there before going to college. But really, to be fair, I was really kind of over high school after my junior year, and I just wanted out. So it was one of those. I went to a guidance counselor, and I'm like, if you don't let me leave, I'm gonna quit. And they're like, oh my gosh, you actually have good grades. Don't do that. So they put there was the university, the state college, and then the trade school. And I looked at the university and because really, in all honesty, at the age of 17, all I could think about was music. All I cared about was playing drums and guitar. I did not care about anything else in my life. Even I know I work in video games now, and of course, some people probably go, not games. No, games have always been my second love. My first love has always been music, but really, that space is also shared by electronics.
Yeah.
Because like even the reason, so like my first instrument was percussion instruments, drums, drum set. But the two reasons I got into guitar, one because it was the want of like writing music. I wanted to write music, but also it was the tinkering of it. Like I almost could have cared less about acoustic guitar. I remember I was even kind of like upset a little bit when my folks got me my first guitar and it was an acoustic. I'm like, ugh. So, but what did I do? I went and bought all these electronics and I made these pickups and like shoved them inside and like. So I was the little kid who grabbed, of course, this is a generation where we still had FM radios, but like, that grabbed a radio and took it apart.
Oh,
to see what was in the inside and put it back together.
That's
or mod it as a child. I was doing things like that.
No, see, you and I are vastly different people then, because I remember I took my very first semester in college, I took an electronics class because I was originally an astrophysics major.
Remember you telling me that?
Yeah. So I took Intro to Newtonian Mechanics.
I don't even know what you just said, but I don't appreciate it.
I don't either, if I'm going to be 100% honest with you.
All right,
The one
sorry.
reason why I quit astrophysics was because I didn't like the math.
I do
I was
remember you
okay with the
telling me that.
theoretics. I love theoretics, but when it came down to actual math, my brain just fries.
See, I'm the opposite. I'm really good at math, which means I'm good at electronics. And I was really bad at like reading composition. Like I'm not. That's not a strong suit. Numbers
Yeah.
make sense to me. Even when I kind of like organize things in my day, or like or even like building a computer and stuff. To me, it's like a math problem. Like this part equals
Yeah.
this part equals this part. And X is the built computer with Windows 10 installed, kind of thing.
Yeah. No, but yeah, so I hated that. I hated that part of it. I hated the math part, but I loved learning about, gravitation between two objects, and if there's a third object, where the force of gravity is going to be the strongest and that kind of stuff. I loved learning about it, but actually putting it into practice, I hated it. But so one of the classes that was part of the requirement for the astrophysics major was electronics. It was one of the classes you could take. You could take a beginner electronics class. And I did, and I hated it, and I barely passed that class with a D plus.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, and it was one of those ones where you had that little board where you would stick
The breadboard.
resistors in.
Hmm?
Yeah, it was one of those classes, and I to this day I can't even. I only remember the word resistor and what ohms are. That's it.
I mean, the ohm is just the part that. Well, I mean, actually, not entirely. It's the measurement of resistance. Sorry, I'm getting
No, see, exactly. You're like, oh no, yeah, this is exactly what this is. I know what you're talking about, and I'm just, yeah, no, that's all you, man.
Yeah. So I mean,
So
but like you can actually like when you have like an understanding. See, I actually feel like I took the class really just to get out of high school because I hated it. Like I just
okay,
by the time I wasn't having fun anymore. Again, if yesterday's thing goes up first, I made a comment to like, the only thing I ever wanted to do when I grew up was play guitar and video games. And I still feel that way. And so for me, it was like if it wasn't at least then with my mind frame, like if I wasn't having fun, I didn't want to do it. So, and I actually consider learning fun. I know some people don't for whatever reason, but I don't understand that.
oh, I
But
do because I learn languages. That's what I learn. I love learning languages.
yeah, but isn't that fun to you?
Yeah, no, it's absolute fun.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
My
so you're
wife
saying
and I have,
you
yeah,
don't,
I love that.
yeah, okay. So, but I don't
Yeah,
understand people who don't want to learn. Like it's a
yeah,
like a wall comes up almost. But
yeah.
so um, for me, I thought to myself, well, I have to be in school for one more year before
Okay,
I literally have to turn into an adult,
yeah.
or just pick something. So I thought, oh, this is cool, and I remember seeing a picture. I met the teacher because I went to like an open house thing there, and I met the teacher, and he had kind of like this like kind of science board of what they do in the class with pictures and stuff. And there was somebody who had modded a guitar, and I was just like, what? I'm like, I want to do
Oh,
that, you know and I signed up. And like a week
that's
later, I was in the
cool.
class.
That's legit.
So I finished the. You can do different like levels of the program.
Mhm.
I only did finish the first one, but I got my certification. And basically, you just keep going through like your entry, mid, master kind of thing. So, but I mean, even with the entry level certificate, I can still go get jobs and stuff like that. Um, but for me, it was like, oh, okay, I'm done with my quote time of high school is done. I'm out of here. But that turned into like what it really actually did though was it turned me into a snob with my shopping.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
I'm the guy like if you want to buy like let's say you get a new Xbox or a new PlayStation or something like that, and most people want to go get a new TV too when they buy like um kind of a new piece of electronic, or even like a new
Yeah,
computer or something. You want to go get a new monitor or something, right?
yeah.
I'm the guy that doesn't need to see it and can tell you if it's good or not.
Just by looking at the specs.
100%.
Yep.
Like I don't need to
All
see it.
right. Here, we're gonna do this. We're gonna have fun. Uh, Let me see if I can remember exactly what I got because I have a specific kind of monitor, right?
Okay.
And I got it from Best Buy, and I'm pretty sure this is the exact same one that I own. No, close, not quite.
Okay.
This one, found it. Okay, so this is the one that I have. I have 2 of these currently.
Are you putting the link in the chat here, or what are you doing?
No, I'm gonna read it out to you.
Okay.
So,
Well,
it's
now, real quick. So I will say, I think there is a point of like things are good and bad, and then there is a point of things that are suggestive.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
What now? First of all, why did you buy this? That's. I used to manage a Guitar Center for clarification, and that was a big thing too. Because like, I can tell people all day that like I own the microphone I'm using here is a Neumann 705 or a Neumann BCM 705, which in my opinion is probably the best broadcasting mic on the market. But should the person, should I look at you and say you should also spend $700 on a microphone to no, because that may not be in your budget, but also you may have $700 and go, I can't justify that. Like there's an SM7B sounds relatively close and can do more, technically, because it's more of a studio microphone than a broadcasting. Even though a lot of broadcasters use it. So it's kind of the justification of what you want. Like, so this microphone sounds terrible for singing, but I have a vocal tubed condenser microphone I would use for studio recording. So again, it's all in what you're also looking for out of your product.
So my thing was that I needed a new monitor to go with my brand new computer that I bought. Right?
Why did you buy the new computer?
Because my laptop after 7 years died.
So it's for general use, or is there something?
No,
specific?
I use this for work. So I use this for work and for
podcasting and recording.
Yeah, podcasting and recording, any video editing, streaming, video games, everything.
Well, those are different things.
I know. So
okay, I'll keep that all in mind.
Yeah. So, to put this into context for you, the first thing I put in here, because there was nothing else and I wasn't about to pay scalper prices for any graphics card. The first graphics card I put into this computer, it's a Ryzen 7 3700X with 16 gigs of RAM, and I put a GT 710 in here. If you know anything about graphics cards.
Well, you said a GT 710. That's an NVIDIA, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, I want to make sure I wasn't. And then you said a Ryzen 3700?
Yeah, Ryzen 7 3700X.
I'm just now getting into
this kind of stuff.
No. AMD processors.
Oh, okay.
I literally, as of yesterday, just bought. It's coming in the mail. I don't even have the processor yet. Here, let me read off to you nerds out there in the interwebs. I got to be careful with this stuff too, because somebody's just gonna be like, "That's cool, I should buy that." No, buy what you think's good for you. And actually, I bought on eBay, so I got it really cheap. I'm an eBay shopper too. I won't buy things that aren't on discount because the thought of paying full price anything is ridiculous.
Right.
Because things are so expensive nowadays. It is and again, so for people who know me, I work at Aquatik Esports. We do have a Gigabit Lounge, which is sponsored. Okay, now this podcast is not sponsored by Gigabit. I, as an individual, am not sponsored by Gigabit. This board is a Gigabit board, but in no way, shape, or form is this because of the affiliation. I will say they did give us computers. They are wonderful, and that kind of strike the interest of looking into their boards more. So I did buy, personally, a used Gigabit TRX40 Aorus Pro Wi-Fi, which is one of their... it's the second from the top of what they consider like their top high end for AMD boards.
Is it?
Excuse me.
I think I'm looking at it. Is it the Pro Wi-Fi, the ATX?
Let me make sure. Sorry, I just closed my phone.
Because I see 2 right here.
Oh yeah. It's a standard ATX board. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It is the Aorus Pro Wi-Fi. There is one. I think there's another one called the Aorus Master Wi-Fi or something like that. That's the top end one. They run for MSRP is $399. So it is a little pricey. But I mean, it is one of the best boards on the market, and it runs 3rd generation Threadrippers, which that is going to cost me a fortune when I go to purchase.
Oh, so you are getting a Threadripper?
I have no choice now.
Oh
I'm out the board,
yeah.
right? Unless I got
Heck
to
yeah,
resell this
man.
thing.
Oh.
So, and this isn't. I'm not a again. A lot of people think even too, like, because I'm a big Xbox supporter. They're like, oh, he must hate PlayStation. I love PlayStation. Back on the old podcast I used to do with Warren and Blackbeard, um, we had done an episode with what is our favorite platforms, and I said my favorite platform of all time was PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm so kind of butthurt over the fact that there's a rumor that's out right now stating that the PS3 store is closing in July, which almost broke my heart.
Are you kidding?
No, so, I mean, it's not officially announced by Sony, but like, yeah, the rumor is that in July the PSP and PS3 stores will be gone. Which the only way you can
Crap.
even access PSP is via. Sorry, my Discord is driving me absolutely insane. Go away. So yeah, the only way you can even access PSP games right now is through the Vita store or the PS3 store. And then the Vita store on top of that is going away in August. So again, I am a huge Sony person. I don't personally own a PS5. The office has one, which I use from time to time. I mean, what great exclusives, but there's just that being said, like what's happening right now of like how I have hundreds, if not thousands, of dollars worth of games in the PS3 store that's closing, and then I look over at Xbox and they're like, "Hey, come on in. Our Xbox 360 store is still up and running. Feel free to buy
Right.
whatever you
Yeah.
like." And a lot of the games are backwards compatible, not only on Xbox One but on your Xbox Series console. And I'm like,
Yep.
perfect. To me, like that's what I want. I'm very much a chronological person when it comes to gaming.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like recently I played through like the Crackdown games. I literally played Crackdown 1 through 3. And so I didn't really care for 1 and 2 as much as what I remember them. I remember actually really liking 1. But when I went back, I thought it was really bad. But then I played 3 recently. Not a great story, but like it was a super fun game though. So I very much am a fan of everything. So and in the computer I have now, I have an i7 Intel processor, which I love to
Yeah.
death. But again, it just came to I'm more so like when I start building a computer, I think about like what board do I want, and then I start like and this was the board I really really wanted to where things that were more expensive just had extra bells and whistles that I thought I don't need to pay an extra $200 for things that I might use. I want to know like, oh, I'm buying this because I'm going to use every part of it. And so
Right.
the Threadripper processors are awesome on top of it. And to me it's the right price. And again, it is a little expensive. $400 for a board is a little pricey, but even though again I got it used on eBay. But this is the perfect board, and maybe even going into that purchase, like what did I look for? I looked to see if PCI 16 4.0 was enabled, how many M.2 PCI 4.0 slots were available. Like those are the things I'm looking for when most people just go, oh, I need to make sure it has PCI 16.
Yeah. No.
Now I'm like to the detail of like what do I need, but then you
Yeah.
start balancing it of do I need that, so
Yeah. No, I know exactly what you mean.
But yeah, this will be fun to kind of be on my first journey with like an AMD processor. I'm actually really excited. The Threadrippers are disgustingly amazing.
No, yeah, I love my Ryzen core. But
Yeah.
so I started out with that PNY GT710, right? And then I finally upgraded to a GeForce GTX 1660 Super that was not scalped beyond belief. I actually played pretty close to MSRP on it too. So I was really happy about that.
Nice.
And now this thing runs perfectly fine. I can run Twitch, Discord, and a video game all at the same time. But anyway, the monitors that I have are Samsung. It's
Are they the ones that have the cool like Tony Stark looking things on the back?
no.
Okay.
So these are cheap. These were I think I bought them on sale, but I think originally they're like $130.
Okay.
And I just liked it because I needed a curved monitor. I needed something that was around 24 inches.
Do you know the model?
And yes, I do actually. I have it right here in front of me.
May I have it?
The model number is the LC24 F396.
Continue. I'm gonna look at the specs while you're talking.
Oh no, I was just saying, and then I got this one because it was or no, whoa, hold up. That's not the one. Is this the one that I have?
This one says $130, $150 off of Samsung's website.
No, then I lied because now I'm looking at the base, and this is the one I have. So it's the C24 F390. I noticed because the base looked off, and I was like, which one did I get?
So I'm gonna start off by saying there's a bad sign that started with the word business monitor. Oh, I think I know this monitor already. They make white ones of these. A friend has. So, if anybody who's curious, he said C24 F390. It's part of their F39 series.
Yeah.
So the 24 is obviously the inches. A lot of companies will do that with their
model codes.
yeah. So I actually do see some good signs already, personally. And again, it's all in what your interest is. Typically, they model these after people who do this. This is like a budget friendly monitor, typically for people who maybe do photography.
Okay.
For business, because it has a little bit of a higher contrast ratio. So it has like illuminates a little bit better and whatnot. So that doesn't mean for people when I'm using like words like that, like descriptive words, or adjectives or whatever, it doesn't mean HDR though. Because I know sometimes people are like, oh, brightness, so they think HDR is like controlled lighting.
Yeah.
Towards like put there. I'm talking about like a mass, like how bright is the entire screen, right? So it is at 24 inches. It is curved. So I personally don't get into curved too much. I actually like standard kind of flat monitors.
I prefer curved for some
Uh,
reason. I like it.
some people like it because it gives them more of like an immersive feeling. Like you kind of like we tend to like lean in sometimes when we look at computers, and the curve kind of gives you that like a full like kind of like how when you go to IMAX, right, and you go to the theaters that have like the big curve in the IMAX, like it kind of has that same kind of vibe. It does have darker blacks, which is good. And what are the other things here? Now, okay, so this is something that's good but bad for you, kind of. So if I'm just looking at the generic things that like the bullet points they're just saying here, right?
Yeah.
So the one cool thing with this monitor is it says it has enhanced gaming experience, right? And that keyword is FreeSync. So for anybody who is maybe a gamer and a nerd out there, FreeSync is a communication tool between the monitor in your graphics card or the graphics card that's in your console to help with tearing. So if you ever see like the quick line that'll run across your monitor real quick when a screen is transitioning, you see it a lot in very fast-paced games. So anything from like Dirt or like Doom or something of that nature, you'll see like a line that kind of like almost like rips the screen kind of look. And it's real quick, right? But it's enough that you can notice. And so AMD has made a software that basically helps two devices communicate with each other. Now, NVIDIA also has one, but it's not software based, it's hardware based. That's why usually you see something that's a G-Sync certified, which means it actually has the small processing chip inside the monitor. But this is why you'll see the same monitor that says G-Sync enabled that's $100 more than the one that's only FreeSync. But now monitors more and more nowadays are coming with both. But again, because there's a piece of hardware, the G-Sync monitor will always be more expensive. And again, there's no superior over the other. Both companies make AMD or NVIDIA make fantastic processors. And a really cool thing with NVIDIA recently too is they bought ARM, which makes mobile.
Oh, did they actually?
Yeah, for a few $billions. So we'll see what they're going to do because that's an incredible purchase for that company. I also get in the tech business and stuff too. I thoroughly enjoy it. And to some degree, I was going to sound maybe blasphemous. I actually, to some degree, enjoy the business side of games more than games. Like to me, like like I actually, to some degree, find it more interesting on like like what's going on at CD Projekt right now than actually playing Cyberpunk. And I put 245 hours in that game.
Oh no, yeah, no, I know exactly what you mean. Then, yeah.
Or like what did the developers go through making Last of Us Part 2? Like in that whole how many year cycle it took to make that game. What was going on there?
For me, it's Square Enix with their, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, their project Athea or Athea.
I thought they just gave it her actual name now because they showed a new trailer. Yeah, they just showed a new trailer like a few days ago.
It's for Forspoken. Yep, you're absolutely right.
Do you know just because again, I'm into the business end of it. Do you know who's helping write that game by any chance?
No, but I'm
Very
probably about to
famous
find
Hollywood
out.
writer.
Really? Hold on.
Yes.
Let's find out here real quick because I'm looking at this. It's
I already
Final
know.
Fantasy 15's lead programmer though.
Yeah, because
Oh.
it's Project Luminous who's making it. Luminous Production. Jesus, get my words all. So Gary Whitta, for people who don't know that name right off the top of your tongue, he's very prominent in the gaming world too because he in the '90s he was also editor in chief of PC Gamer magazine. Um,
Oh, interesting.
yes, he's a very renowned writer. Of course, he does like podcasts and stuff now. He did the little show called Animal Talking on Twitch for a while, which was very popular. Um, but he wrote not only, I mean, two fantastic films, but Star Wars Rogue One. And then he also wrote Book of Eli.
I actually really enjoyed Book of Eli.
Eli's amazing. Like, what a fantastic film. And for people who
I
haven't
really,
watched it,
really do like
yeah,
it.
it is. There's so many quotes in that movie that are just like things that you can like. Prime example is who's the villain in that movie? It's what's the actor's
Rogue
name?
One. It's
No. Book of Eli.
it's that one guy who's the book guy.
He's in like every
Oh,
nerdy movie out there because he was also in Fifth Element too.
Carnegie, Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, thank you.
Yeah.
So Gary Oldman is kind of leading the charge of like trying to get that book right. Once he finds out that Eli, which ends up being the Bible. Oops, spoilers! Look, it's been out for 20 years. Go watch it. He's trying to get this book right, which he knows it's the Bible, right? You don't find that out till later. But there's like no Bibles left, right? And he said,
Yeah.
the man who rewrites the Bible controls the world. And you're just like, whoa, like because it was still known as like almost like at that point it's like the Holy Grail kind of thing of like this book of knowledge and wisdom you had to have. It's full of stories that taught you things, and right. And so,
Yeah.
but he looked at it as a book of control to where I can actually reinstitute a religion, and how much can I squeeze out of people when I have it, and he was already doing that without it, but he wanted that much more power, and so, and there was a twist to it, so I still saved a little bit for you if you haven't watched it. But like, I mean, just Gary Whitta's fantastic.
Whoa! Oh, this makes me love him even more. I was just looking through his writer credits. He did Prey. He did the screenplay for Prey, the video game.
The newer one.
No, for the one in 2006, the Xbox 360.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've actually never played that version.
It's
I've
actually
always wanted
a really
to.
interesting game.
Yeah, it was really actually. I thought it did well, and then for whatever reason, the second one got canceled. But I heard it was not, like, it was broken beyond belief, kind of thing.
Oh, but the Prey that you and I are talking about, the one for PS4, that's also a really, really good game. I love that game too.
The Bethesda Prey, basically.
Yeah.
Even though Bethesda owns the other Prey, I'm just now, but they didn't publish it at the time. Actually, think about it. That's now an Xbox game because Xbox bought Bethesda.
Oh, that's right. Yep, you're totally right.
Or ZeniMax has in entirety, which is insane to think about that. So, like, if you think about it, even though ZeniMax is still like the mediary company between like Bethesda and Xbox, but ZeniMax, other than like writing pay, making sure people get paid and people have benefits, doesn't really do anything anymore.
Yeah.
like think about it. Everything that they did before is all being taken over by Xbox. It's just a mediary.
Oh, that's crazy.
So I don't even know where we were at. Oh, we were talking about your monitor. So yeah. So FreeSync does a few other things. Usually, you also need like it helps with variable refresh rates. So with games and stuff too. A lot of people don't understand that a lot of times developers to save on cost will actually have cutscenes run at a lower refresh rate than the actual in-game footage, right? So like in Doom, like if you're playing Doom, for example, I mean, that's a very fast-paced game. The game's probably running at 60 frames a second.
Yeah.
But in cutscenes, because it is a lot slower pace, is probably only running at 30. And there is a cost difference between the two, even developing for that.
Yeah.
So Um, a lot of times without having some sort of like game mode or free sync and stuff like that to help, it like sometimes you'll see like it'll actually like have a very jarring cut between cutscene and gameplay versus being like a smooth transition. And so a lot of people think, oh, it's loading. No, it's actually trying to figure it out hardware wise. Like, oh, we're not at 60 anymore. Oh, we're not at 30 anymore. So this helps make a smoother transition. And then also too, there's a mode within newer versions of FreeSync and G-Sync. It's called auto low latency, and that just exactly what the phrase. Instead of having to tell it to have low latency, it will automatically determine the lowest form of latency you can have versus trying to go into the settings or go into your PC or console settings. So where this is bad for you though is that you don't have an AMD Radeon graphics processor in your computer.
Yeah.
So that doesn't technically mean some of the FreeSync monitors, there's like a software that you can use to make it compatible. Even on NVIDIA's site, it will say like this monitor may be G-Sync compatible, even though it doesn't have the chip, but it probably works more like VSync, and VSync is kind of like the generic version of Pepsi or Coke versus some people will actually turn it off because it just doesn't, on some games, unfortunately doesn't really run that well and actually will create problems. Like even in Crackdown, I don't think uses G-Sync. It didn't recognize it, so I just turned on the V-Sync, and like the physics in the frames, like the car wouldn't, like an NPC would go to stop in the car would just go flying because it didn't realize it needed to stop. So it can hurt things too, unfortunately. So let's look at the quick few other things. It's in 1080. I would say it's a personal thing. If you're okay with playing games in 1080, there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't need 4K. I don't need that kind of, or even 1440.
I mean, it's fine.
I'm okay without it.
I prefer having more.
More is better.
For gaming, you want as low as response time as possible. This monitor has 4 milliseconds of response time. So that's not as good as what you would kind of want of this, but that on the other foot, like this would come down to like, what are you doing more? Are you gaming more, or are you podcasting? If you're just doing podcasts, this is a great monitor, because it actually does, especially again with still images, it's going to look great. 60 frames a second, which is the norm for a lot of products. So you're really good there. Movies only run high, and I mean like high-end movies, like 4K movies, 4K Blu-rays only run in 24 hertz. Most games, the highest they'll run is 60 hertz. We are seeing more PC and Xbox games running in like 120 hertz, but even still, most games are made around 60 hertz. So I'm a little bit of a snob. I have to have 120 hertz, or I won't even buy it.
Really?
Yeah, I won't even touch it.
So aren't a lot of games, or aren't a lot of monitors now advertising like 14
like 144 hertz?
Like 144 hertz, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean that's for like, again, there's the word is enthusiast, right? Like I would say I'm an enthusiast. So like for me, if I can afford it, or or if I can, I would just say, try to find a way to save up for it. I would find a way to, if I had a game that would utilize that, then I would purchase one. So I have 2 Omen monitors that run at 165.
Oh yeah, dude.
And technically, I do have 2 business monitors that run at 1200p. So I wanted something with a little bit, at the time, something with a little bit higher resolution. But they run at 60 hertz. Again, this was I need something for business kind of thing. So I have 2 of those. And this is my office setup, like at work.
Yeah.
I have an Omen 2K monitor, so a 1440p, run at 165 hertz, and then my big screen is, I have a Samsung Q7 4K television.
Whoa.
Yeah, so I have the 3. So I basically have 2 business monitors, a gaming monitor, and a television. So for me, my setup basically is a TV is all my 4K and HDR gaming, all my fast games that need like a high refresh rate, I play on my Omen monitor, so I can play at like 120 or 165, and then like kind of more business or more lax kind of things, I'll take I'll display on the Dell monitors running at
Yeah.
1200p.
I'll give you a little bit of context for me. I think the craziest game I run right now in terms of just
I love how this turned into gaming real quickly.
no, but no, trust me, I'm gonna bring it back real quick. Trust me.
I love video games, so it's fine.
So the craziest game that I probably run right now is either Eve Online or MTG Arena.
What is the other one?
Eve Online.
No, I got the Eve. What was the other one? You initialized it or abbreviated it.
Magic the Gathering Arena.
Oh, okay. That's neither. Well,
Yeah.
well, Eve might be because I mean it's pretty fast paced flying game.
Yeah, like space and yeah.
So I mean, but again, dude, I mean, here's the reality, man. Again, I'm an enthusiast and I'm a little bit of a snob. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. I'm in German, so I've got a pretty big nose. I fling it up in the air and I hold it high in pride of my bougie monitors. I may not, my actually I got New Balance shoes. Those are pretty nice, but they're not like I like New Balance. These are nice shoes. But like I ain't going out and buy no Gucci shoes or nothing like that.
I think the most expensive shoes I've ever bought were Doc Martens for work.
Dude, Doc Martens has some good shoes, man.
Oh, I love Doc Martens. Oh my gosh.
I got these handmade. They were a few $100s once. And I didn't even wear them that much because I was so afraid I was going to ruin them. But I got these Italian made. I always wanted wingtip shoes.
Are you kidding me? Are you about to tell me that you have handmade Italian shoes that look like Vans made of leather?
I ended up wearing them out. It was like I had saved up some money when I was very young. And I'd always wanted them. And I have giant feet. So like my feet, like at like 12 or like you're 13 and you're size 13 for the rest of your life. And so I bought these Italian made wingtip shoes, leather tops, wood bottoms. Anybody who buys like super expensive shoes, either you have like the Louis Vuitton red bottoms, then you have like traditional, you have like the wood bottom shoes, and the wood, just because I had them for like 15 years, the wood, like the glue holding the wood onto the shoes eventually gave off.
Yeah.
And like I asked the guy, I was like, how much does it fix this? And he's like, dude, just go buy new shoes. Because there actually is, like, for high end shoes, there is, like that. There are people who,
yeah.
I mean, those still exist, and they'll charge a fortune too. But that's when he was like, dude, what I'm charging you, just might as well go buy another pair, because it was still like it was on the cheaper end of the high end kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was still handmade, but like it wasn't like the
No, I know exactly. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like it's not stuff the millionaires.
No,
which
trust
would have
me.
been nice too, but.
No, trust me. My wife, she went backpacking in Europe for 2 months, 2 or 3 months, right? She went down to Italy. And when she was in Italy, she found a shoe shop that made leather, durable handmade shoes that look like white Vans. And she bought them and she spent $200 on handmade Italian shoes.
Yeah, I think mine, because just you're buying it online kind of thing, I think mine were like $350 or somewhere right around. I mean, again, this was years and years ago.
And granted, she was in Italy, so
yeah, it's supposed to, when you're in Italy and you can go into like, actually, they're probably better than a name brand, and and it's like homemade, and you're getting a great price.
Yeah.
Not to turn this into a shoe podcast, but like, but then
look, man, we've gone from electronics to gaming to shoes. You know what?
But you know what though? My whole life, like the way my consumer purchasing is though, I'm not super in the impulse buying. The only thing I'm like super impulse about is like Pokemon cards. Yeah,
dude.
Which you're a Magic person, so you understand.
Oh no, I'm very much getting into Pokemon cards too. Trust me.
Can I admit something out loud? As we've been talking, I've been going through Pokemon cards. I'm not kidding. I'm literally right in front of me is a Twin Energy. So I'm literally, I've been scrolling through cards in my hand while we've been talking. So I have like I don't know the actual name for it, but like when I was in elementary school, like they deemed me with like, back in the day they used to call it SLD, which they would just say was like slow learning disability. And then when I got into like middle school and high school, they called it like ESC, which I don't remember what that meant. But like I have an IEP through the state for anybody who kind of knows what that is. So like basically, if I were to ever be like
exceptional student education,
I don't
Like
remember.
ESC I was just looking
So
up.
anybody who's like disabled or has like learning disabilities can go through, at least in the state of Florida. There's a program where you go to this like government building and they sit you down and go, do you want to go to school? Do you want to work? And you say what you want to do, and then they try to help you out with it.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, and there's like, depending on what you have and what it is, they'll do certain things. So I'm not, mine's not that bad, but yeah, the state will kind of point you in uh, the right direction. You know what's funny is I totally felt like I had a bigger point to that, and now I'm just like lost. I get so like on the like protection, like, cancel culture thing, man. Like you gotta like protect yourself, dude, because people be like, you said something, like I didn't mean it like that. You watch yourself, buddy, over there. I'm watching you.
Yeah.
But
No, we were talking about Pokemon cards.
yeah, they're awesome.
With Twin Energy. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
yeah. I tend to like, I can stay focused, but like I get so fidgety.
mhm.
Like I have to, like my mind's always racing. It's hard to like slow it down. So I've never told I had ADHD. But like I have a hard time like focus. Mine's more of like a focus and like comprehension kind of thing. So
Mhm.
like I'm always kind of like, what's going on, which is I think why I'm so good with electronics and like building actually music gear. We can even talk about that too if you want, because I get to use my hands. Like I probably should have been like an
Right.
auto mechanic or something, because I'm really good with like putting things
Build
together.
pickups. Build your own pickups and sell them at a high margin.
No, that's I can't tell you how hard of a market, like boutique music products. I
Yeah.
mean, you can make some money off of it, but like it is hard. And like, of course, people are like, "Oh, great! That just means you got to work harder." I've already done the music thing.
I don't think I'm not going back.
I want to make sure that I have benefits, so I'm good for the moment. I wish
I
my
like
work.
working in esports.
I just like having a good job. I like having a good job that challenges me and gives me good skills. Especially right now that especially we have. I mean, in the esport world, we actually have, they're small sets in that world. I know for a lot of our audience, they're like, this is huge, and it is. For me, this is like one of the bigger sets I've been on, other than like a state, except for when we're talking
Right, yeah.
music, right? But I like that I get to build the sets and like the equipment and
Hey there, everybody. I want to take a minute to thank today's sponsor, GameAware. Now, if you can't tell from the name, they're a gaming clothing and accessory brand that's specifically focused on the gaming industry. All their products are eco-friendly and are really high quality, and they're also making sure that they're part of a sustainable fashion movement. Their core values are eco-consciousness, collaboration, and innovation. Now, here's where it gets really good. They have some really, really good collections. Their first edition collection is really nice. I personally have their Explorer tee. I love that so much. The graphic design on that is impeccable. They also have their signature range, which has their logo and their name on it. They also have their custom 2021 Gamerwear jersey. You can customize it with your gamer tag and with a personal number, and it comes with all the branding of Gamerwear. They also have their own multi-link site called gamer.tv. It's gmr.tv. I love it. I personally use it. It just looks really, really clean. It looks really good. So if you're interested on upgrading how you look on stream or just on the street, check out Gamerware. And if you'd like to save 10% off of your order at gamerware.com, make sure you put in code TCT10 at checkout to save 10% on your entire purchase. And now, let's just get back to the episode.
So I like building with my hands. I like the process of like probably my most, as silly as this kind of sounds, if I had to pick like something that I do the absolute best for me, not better than anybody else, but like what is the thing that I probably know more than anybody else? Or I'm sorry, I phrased that wrong. What is
In
the
your
thing
head.
in my head, that thing that I know really, really well, like my best trade and skill, is what's referred to as signal routing. I'm the guy, and I've had friends who've done this too, that say, "Hey, here's what I want my instrument to sound like, or my voice, or whatever, right? Here's the equipment I have. Here's a budget. Here's everything I have, and here's a budget in case you need to buy anything. I need it to be like this, but I want it to be better. Can
Mm-hmm.
you do it?" And the answer is yes. Even if it's by 1%, the answer is yes. I'm very good at placing things in particular order using particular cables. Trying to minimize cables. I actually get into measuring cable length.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because so something to keep in mind for anybody out there. If you're into like you're like a purist, right? Like maybe you're like super into like records, right?
Mhm.
Or maybe you're a guitar player. All right, you do not want to use. And we're talking analog. We're not talking digital cables. You do not want to use a cable longer than 18.6 feet. The reason that is after 18.6 feet, there is an audible, there's a human audible tone degradation. It's noticeable at that point at 18.6 feet. So yes, is there technically are you losing tone per foot? Yes. A human ear can't hear it though until 18.6 feet, exactly 18.6.
Really?
Correct. So keep your cables small. And the longer the cable gets, the more expensive that cable should probably be. That's not always true, but like if without getting into like more specs, that's a statement I would make. But like, this is why you want a cable also, and also too, the longer your cable is, the more susceptible you are to things outside, right? So if you don't have good shielding or good ground, you're susceptible to hearing a lot of noise or buzz or things of that nature. So like I like using a lot of Megami cables because they can be still like this cable here that I'm using, this XLR cable into my interface is only
Mhm.
I think it's a 3-foot cable. But it's oxidized free copper with quad braided shielding. It uses Neutris connectors, so you're getting a solid connection when you're in, like it's locked in.
Mhm.
With 24 karat tipped gold pins. Um, and I mean that cable runs you like $45, which
But
that is for 3 feet. That's a little pricey, but you can
it's
actually spend
quality.
more. But this is like studio quality,
Yeah.
so studio quality is actually a little bit more fragile too. So if I bought like the performance quality version, I probably would have paid maybe 10 or more dollars more. I think it may even be more than that. But usually, like the cabling is like a lot thicker, but you don't necessarily want if you're carrying audio with a current, you want a thick cable. If you don't, you want a little bit of a thinner cable.
Mhm.
So, but you want it shielded correctly. So that's what I'm saying. That's where the game is. It's just balance. Any of these things that we talk about is balance. It's balance on what you want and what you're willing to pay and what you're
Okay,
trying
yeah.
to do.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
So because again, if that's real reality, then we should. If no, I need the best. Well, then okay, every single audio cable you should have should be diamond encrusted. Give me $10,000 for a 3-foot cable. I've seen them; they're awesome. But like, how practical is that, right? So
It's yeah.
even like a gold cable, right? Like, let's say your wiring is not copper; it's made out of gold, right? So from point to anybody who studied electronics will tell you that silver and gold are very conductive and they're very good and it's very fast signal, clear signal, right?
There's
And
a
gold
reason
is
why you
very
use it in chips.
yeah, exactly. Right. Especially for like Apple and Samsung are notable. How they get the gold is a different conversation, but they're very notable on having gold traces on their boards and their phones and whatnot. Right.
Mhm.
So, and this is also why Samsung products are very expensive because they do this throughout all their high end products. So, um, the problem is though, right? Is that so the traces kind of make sense, right? Because traces are running all over your board. But we're
Mhm.
talking about like an audio cable for your amp or for your guitar or for like your turntable or whatever, right? For your records. It doesn't make sense to own it unless your product it's attached to also has gold connectors.
Oh.
Because think about it, right? So you have this signal coming out, right? Out of a standard
Let's just put my
probably I'm
headphones.
trying
My
to think of
headphones.
okay.
Because so I have I have a here. Hold on. I have AKG the AKG K240 Studio headphones.
Those are good headphones.
55 ohms.
Good headphones.
I love these. They're great.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty sure these are gold plated. The connection on the left side, I'm pretty sure that's gold plated.
And by the way, gold plated might as well be gold to a certain extent.
Yeah. I think. Actually, well, you know what? Now I have to check
Does it
myself.
look gold? If it looks gold, it probably is. It actually isn't that expensive to plate things.
Well, now I have to know just to make sure that I like knowing specs and support. Oh man, it
You know what
actually
I'm
doesn't
hoping? I'm
say.
hoping that the other episode was your best viewed episode, and I hope this one is the worst. Because I feel like I'm just carrying on. So
No, I
hopefully
love it.
I can get 2 records out of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course, yeah, absolutely.
And then there just will never be a third. You know, like
It doesn't say whether or not it has gold right on the. I mean, I'd have to look
let's just
probably,
assume
but
that it does.
yeah.
It probably is.
Driver sensitivity, impedance.
So now, and here's the thing too with the ohms, right? To a certain extent, we're just gonna be generals, right? Stereotypes. Higher the ohm, clearer the sound, right?
Yeah.
Now, can technically something be so high that the speaker has a hard time even woofering and it make a terrible sound? Yes, but that's not the general. Usually, things will have, you know, like a company, if they're a good company, are not going to put out a speaker that sounds bad. The only time you'll get that is something that's affordable, but you would not find something with a super high impedance that sounds terrible because it'll probably be expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But this is why you see guitar speakers that run at like 16 ohms because it's looking for the clarity. Like 16 ohms is pretty clear.
Right.
For a single one tone product. Now I know a lot of people are all. I don't remember if there's. I listen to your show on Spotify, so there's no chat section there. So, but if you have a chat section anywhere, I can already hear people are like, but guitars make many tones. Yes, but it's all a mid range tone.
Oh.
It's not a high mid low. Guitar is a mid range instrument. Even bass guitar technically is a mid range instrument. But like if you have
But that's getting into it.
yeah, I mean that's even though it's a low sound, but like the impedance is still like it's technically what they refer to as a high Z signal. So which is more of a a lot of those products are mid range.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway, no. So this we could probably go on for hours, dude. I love talking about this kind of stuff. This stuff is so interesting. But this is how I want to end the episode because we're getting to that point.
I feel like I just rattled for like an hour.
No, it's great. I love it.
Okay.
This is what this show is all about. Rattling. Okay. This is tangential. This is tangential conversation. But so I have a thing that I've been doing lately at the end of these episodes.
Okay.
But so basically they're pre-written questions that are given in the form of categories, right?
Oh no.
So you may choose from 3 categories.
I hate it.
Hypothetical questions, musician interviews, or gamer or gaming.
What do you mean by hypothetical questions?
So I'll just give you the first one that it gives here. I like doing random. If you could ask any 3 questions to anyone in history, who would you ask and what would those questions be? Stuff like that.
Oh, let's do that one. I think that's more fun.
Hypothetical? All right, cool. And we're gonna randomize the crap out of it.
Do you want me to answer that one?
No, because I like doing it. I like making it random to where I'm not
anymore.
looking. Oh well, boohoo. I think you'll be all right. It's my show, not yours. Okay. Oh no. Oh, this is awful. I don't like this. I don't like the show anymore. I don't like it here. If you could make one thing taste like another, what would it be?
Let's just go with like bad tasting vegetables. Like I actually really enjoy vegetables, but there are some that are just terrible. Right? So like asparagus just god awful. Like why do people cook it and put butter on it? It tastes bad. That's why. So like make it taste like pizza or something that tastes great.
No, you know what? We're gonna go with this one. This is instead. I like this one more. I picked another random one just in case. Okay. If aliens took over and put humans into zoos, what would you want in your zoo enclosure?
Depends on what you define as aliens.
If extraterrestrial beings from a 5th dimension came down and put us all into a zoo on their home planet and basically tried to just sell us off as, a marketable amusement attraction, what would you want in your enclosure?
Now, just because this is how much of like a nerd and like I overthink everything. So there is religious beliefs that think that like we belong, like when we pass, like their heavens are like different dimension or planes. Are we those? Are we like like
No, we're not. No
we're talking about like
religion. No.
Independence Day,
We're
like and
talking.
aliens.
Yeah,
Like, all
yeah.
right, cool, all right. I just want to make sure. Like I said, everything. I like the twist of it because that's how my brain works. So they're putting us in a zoo for entertainment, right?
Yeah. So think of the movie Arrival. You remember the movie Arrival
No,
with Amy Adams and Jeremy Renner?
nope,
I
never
highly
heard of it.
recommend you watch that movie.
I'm bored.
Oh, come on. It's really not. I think you would love that movie. Anyway, but yeah, so continue on your tangent then, since the point I was going to make makes no sense now.
Correct. So they're putting us in a zoo for entertainment, and you're
Yeah.
asking me what are they doing as entertainment?
No, what would you want in your zoo enclosure?
So I'm in the zoo.
Yes, you are in the zoo. The aliens put you in a zoo. What would you want in your enclosure?
Oh, give me the
And money is no object.
oh, get out of here. They wouldn't give us anything nice. No way. I would just hope and pray I could get the little Jesus Christmas scenario, like give me like the little awning and like a place with like hay and stuff and like, some like food, water. That's as best as it's gonna get, way the way we treat how poorly some of these zoos treat the animals. You don't think it's gonna come back haunt us, like
So you think that if we get put into zoos, we're gonna go caveman style, like leather loincloths and
oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. It's the whole I actually don't believe in karma, but like it's gonna, it'll probably that will probably come back, if karma is real, that's probably gonna happen.
Wow. I never see. I was thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get an acoustic electric guitar and
No,
just
no,
wow the
because
people, wow the aliens.
no, because they don't find joy in that. Think about it. We put animals in so we have zoos, right? Because
Oh no, now we're gonna get all philosophical.
one
Continue.
some zoos, actually are helping, but the way that because it is a business and they need to make money to take care of these creatures, right? They have to find ways of making a profit, and there's only so much the government's going to give in grants, right? Depending on which country they're in and whatever. So, they gotta, this is where like, Larry Park in like Tampa, which is a famous zoo and stuff. They have shows with that famous guy. I can't remember his name now.
Steve Irwin.
No. He passed away.
Crocodile Dundee.
No. I think that guy also passed away.
Are you talking recently or like 10 years ago, 15 years ago?
Like the 90s.
Oh, I have no idea then.
Larry Park Zoo. The guy who like helped start it. What the heck is the guy's name? I can't think of it. Oh, I feel terrible now. I can't think.
I got nothing.
I got nothing either. So like, but like we, but like they have to make money somehow, right? And so by doing this, they create little shows. They create interactive things for kids and for parents. Like so they find all these things to help drive business. You're trying to tell me you don't think with our little human minds, you don't think they would do the same thing to us? Oh, this poor little human's got worms. Like we gotta pay for that somehow.
Okay. All right. No, now I understand. Now I understand it. It's not an altruistic. Well, it kind of maybe is.
The scenario you give doesn't fit. Like how you're like, oh, money's not an option. Well, then why am I in a zoo?
Yeah, that's fair.
It's almost like you asked if you won the lottery, but then got captured by aliens and thrown in a zoo. What would your life be like?
No, I mean like to the aliens. There's no like. It's purely for enjoyment and entertainment, right? Come look at the humans.
Yeah, we'd be no different from any wildlife that's in a zoo.
That's crazy. That went a lot deeper than I was thinking. I was just thinking video games and a TV with an acoustic guitar, but
I bet you they have their own source of like recreation entertainment that like that wouldn't be like video games. What a waste of time.
They're gonna give us like a hoggle fluss, and just let us play with that till we're blue in the mouth or blue in the face.
Essentially. I'm like looking for this guy now. I can't remember his name. It's driving me insane. Jack Hanna is his name.
Oh, the guy who did Zaboomafoo.
I think so.
Yeah, Jack Hanna. Yeah, he did Zaboomafoo.
Yeah, I'm thinking Jack Hanna.
Oh, I miss Zaboomafoo.
Yeah, I'm thinking Jack Hanna. Yeah, that's him.
Oh,
I didn't
yeah,
realize
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he was. He still looks pretty good though, but I almost didn't recognize him now. He's older. But yeah, I'm thinking Jack. Yeah, Jack Hanna was the guy who started Larry Park or helped
Okay.
with Larry Park Zoo and helped with like entertainment and things like that.
Wait, was
Um,
he?
but he's a cool dude. I got to meet
No,
him when I got
I'm
to meet him
thinking
when I was like a
Jack
little
Hanna.
kid. So
Yeah, no, I'm thinking his Jack Hanna's Animal Adventures. He didn't do Zaboomafoo. I was wrong on that. Who did Zaboomafoo?
I don't remember. I just it sounded right. I was like, that sounds right. But it's this guy. I just put it in the little chat thing there.
Hold on, now I have to figure out who was on Zaboomafoo.
I almost wish you'd asked me that first question. No, I had a straight answer. It was the reason I picked it.
Yeah, and that's fair. I just thought it was boring. That was my bad.
No, because you don't know what my answer is. Because I can tell you what most people would say.
What?
Okay, so that question was if you could ask anyone, right? So you're saying anybody.
Oh, the history question?
Yeah, so anybody.
Yeah.
So that's even mean people who are deceased, right?
Yeah, anybody in history.
Right. So most people would give you the BS answer. And this part is kind of from a movie, but it's true though. So most people would say Albert Einstein or Jesus. Straight up.
No, not me.
A lot of people would though. Who would you pick? I already know my answer.
It's a three-way tie for me.
Okay.
So immediately who I went to was Alexander the Great.
Okay. Mine is in a similar vein.
Second would be whoever Siddhartha actually was. The I guess the founder of Buddhism.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that person. Okay.
Yeah. Or Confucius. Or Sun Tzu. Like the Art of War, Sun Tzu. Like those are the kind of people I'd be interested in. More Alexander the Great, just because the library at Alexandria.
See, your people are still kind of positive. Mine necessarily isn't.
Are you asking for like motive, basically? Like, what was your motive behind this?
No. I'm saying the person that I.
Okay, so who is your person?
I would want to sit down with Pontius Pilate.
Oh,
because when I watched, so there's a movie called Adaptation, which is based on a true story of people stealing orchid flowers in the like this endangered flower in the Everglades in Florida, and how like this news reporter gets involved with this guy and actually like starts like sleeping with him and stuff, and then there's an author who's like following them. And actually, like it's actually kind of, it sounds boring. You kind of said, but like Nicolas Cage and stuff, Meryl Streep. It's a fantastic movie. But he actually scores an interview with this woman because he's actually behind the scenes, like kind of figuring out she's involved. And so he's like asking very generic questions to see if she's lying. Because she works for like the New York Times, and he does the whole like, let me see if she's been honest about everything by asking her the generic question. So
right.
If you could ask anybody a question, and how many times have you ever heard the word Jesus? Which I think would be a great thing, but I actually think if people were to meet Jesus, they'd be disappointed, not because he is a fantastic. I think it would not be the person they think, but who I still think would be fantastic. I just think he's a lot more simple. I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean in a very positive way.
I think I understand what you're talking about.
But for me, picking the opposite, picking Pontius Pilate, I would want to ask him, well, one of the question of why did you give the power over to the people to have Jesus killed, right? If we're going by like what the story says, right? Instead of like, he was a man of big pride and things of that nature. But then also being a man from the future, letting him know what the future holds and what he allowed to happen. By killing Jesus, he became one of the most popular figures in the entire world. He actually helped create a religion, like Judaism that broke off, and became basically Christianity and Catholicism and whatnot. Like ask him what his thoughts are on that, and be like, did you know that what you did or what you allowed to happen, this happened? Even though we think it's a great thing nowadays, but like he may not.
Right, because politically, okay, and this is getting into the politics of the time of Jesus.
Correct, because he did not want him to have power, and that's why he kind of passed it off.
Well, because the other thing
I'm not
too,
to blame, kind of thing, kind of
right.
Like,
No, because I'm actually looking at this. I randomly looked up Pontius Pilate's, biography. Everybody knows the story of Pontius Pilate, and or a lot of people do. I
I'd
don't
say a
want to
lot of
generalize
people
this.
do.
A lot of people do.
You would actually be shocked, especially I'd say Americans do, and that's probably
Okay.
a lot of English people are probably listening to this podcast. So the high chance that they probably do, at least in a general sense.
Yeah, but so one of the interesting things is that he faced conflict on both sides, from Rome and from
Oh
the
yeah.
Sanhedrin.
Hmm?
Yeah. So, and he didn't want to be put in the middle of that. Like, that crossfire between Rome and the ruling council of the Jews, basically. So no, that would be a good person to talk to. I'd be super interested in that conversation.
And the only reason I was super prepared, like I said, is I thought about that a long time ago when I heard somebody else kind of make a similar comment about that too, like who'd you ever like to meet? And they said anybody, and they're like, yeah, they said Pontius Pilate, and for different reasons, I wanted this. I was like, oh wow, what an amazing answer! I would love to be in a setting to where I couldn't be harmed though too. And that's the thing I would have to remind myself though, is I'd probably be going to his time to some degree. It's always Back to the Future, like
Yeah. No, but see, in that same vein of Pontius Pilate, I think Marcus Aurelius or Alexander the Great would be really interesting, because you have these people.
Is a good answer.
Yeah, just because they're at the top of the world looking down, and it's what they had to do to get there. What was the journey? What was your thought process? How did that whole thing behind Marcus Aurelius and behind Alexander the Great? I would love to have a conversation with them. That would be the best. Just because they were considered the height of civilization at their times.
Yeah.
So I
don't know. I don't know
love
who else.
history.
I'm actually trying to think of who else I would ask, but I would probably try to talk to figures that are not looked upon as the positive end of things. I think if I had to pick somebody who's a very positive person though, to kind of talk to about anything, one person that I find really inspiring is Martin Luther King, and I would want his thoughts on what we're going through currently, just everything, not necessarily like the Black Lives Matters movement, just everything. Just like
what is the comparison?
He was such a man ahead of his time to kind of realizing, because I mean he was not only hitting a problem that was current, but also like saying, like, if we don't get this in check now, like, our future is going to get bad.
Yeah.
And everything was through love and peace. And he was one of only few. I think Gandhi achieved certain things, and then also Jesus too. I think those three figures in the world probably made some of the biggest impact. But Martin Luther King, especially for America, and that's why I think he's so important to me, because he is that kind of that guiding light for people's dignity and equality and love and stuff like that. So exactly. It's local. It's in our backyard versus Jesus was protecting the Romans and the people from Jerusalem, and and Middle Easterners and Jews and stuff like that. And obviously Gandhi and over in India and whatnot too. And so it's so I look at him and I would always think, like, I wonder how he feels about this. So
man, I love picking people's brains. No, I love picking people's brains. It's so interesting just talking about I love that kind of stuff. No, I think my wife is finally gonna tell me to stop doing this, because we're recording this on my birthday, and technically I'm not supposed to be working on my birthday. And if my friend Ashley,
you're not working, we're just chilling.
It's fun. But if my friend Ashley knows that I'm working on my birthday, she'll yell at me later. So I think we're gonna cut it there. So
cool, man.
Riptide, my friend Tad, tell everybody where they can find you. Tell them if
if you enjoyed my nonsensical talking. I actually gave a very serious talk yesterday. If it's up by the time this one's up, go check out the other podcasts that I did here, which is Living Life with Testicular Cancer. You can find this actually on the Common Tongue podcast. If you want to find out what I do as a day job, you can go check out anything Aquatik Esports. Over there, I'm the head of production, and so sometimes you'll find me in front or behind the camera, depending on what the show is. And you can find us everywhere, Aquatik Esports. But I'd say our main kind of where most of the peeps are. As a good starting ground is you can go to Neptune Gaming on Instagram, and then from there you'll find everything else. But if you want to follow any of my socials, you can pretty much. I've been trying to push the Twitter more than anything, so you can find me at Riptide_Aquatik with a K. And again, from there, I'm Riptide Aquatic at most things. So, hopefully, if you find the Instagram, you can find our Discord too. We have a lot of really wonderful people. And we're actually getting ready to do, hopefully this goes up before the 1st of next month, because we're doing this big 48-hour birthday bash. I'm really excited about it. It's going to be really fun. There's a lot of great people streaming and having a good time and raising money for some for charity too. So
yeah, no, it definitely won't, because I think this is planned out a little bit far in ahead.
That's all right. There'll be a video post.
There's other stuff too.
there'll be other chances to listen. So.
No, yeah, and I'm super excited for what Aquatik's doing, man. I love the community. It's a really good place. So come check it out. You might find me there too. So
yeah,
double whammy, win.
Yeah, you were on a episode. It's on a YouTube channel, Aquatik Esports on YouTube. But you did a episode of Making Waves. I think it was our
I did do that
second episode you were on. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so I did Making Waves, and I'm also a caster. I do Super Smash Brothers with Aquatik. So
were you on our last Smash one for community mashup?
Yeah, it was me and Ninja.
Oh, that's right. No,
not
that's
Ninja,
right.
Not Ninja Falcon 2.
Not Ninja Falcon 2,
yeah. I need to clarify real quick. I don't know Ninja.
I mean, Ninja Falcon 2 is a real ninja. Let's be real. He was first.
Heck yeah, dude. That guy's got some interesting stories. But anyway, that's going to be for another time, because you're going to have to figure out what that's going to be if we ever do that. So come back, check it out, look at the other episodes. And thank you to Tad for coming on here. And Tad, what do people need to remember? I don't know if you remember this from last night. What do people need to remember?
Be grateful.
That too. But you just have to remember to get sunlight and water, because you're basically a houseplant with complicated emotions.
Nah, I'm fine. I'm better than that.
All right, anyway, have fun. Have a good night. Bye. Hey there, everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed this episode. It was kind of wacky. It was kind of all over the place. I don't really know what the main topic is, but hopefully you enjoyed it. Next week, we're continuing with Aquatik, so keep an eye out. We have some really, really cool stuff planned. We got some really cool episodes coming out with some really amazing guests, so stay tuned for those, and we'll see you on the next one.